All right. We are live. Flashpoint Evantis in the morning edition.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How you been, man?
Oh, not too bad. Weather's better than yours right now, but didn't sound like I won the breakfast war, so it's a fair trade, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. You don't want no parts of this weather that we got right now, man. New York, New Jersey, tri-state. Oh man, we got sleet, we got rain. Oh, it's bad right now.
Nope, I'll take mine. I'm good.
I hear you, man.
Yeah, but yeah, a little bit more changes in the world of Bungie and Destiny 2 again. So
Mhm.
before we jump in, anything else you've been up to? Any little blips you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, for the most part, it's been, waiting to see what's been going on with Destiny. But I got some games I've been playing.
Yeah, what else you been dabbling in?
Oh man, I was gonna talk about it on ILP this week, but yeah, that
Give him
damn
a sneak. Give him a sneak.
yeah, XCOM 2.
Okay.
They dropped a 4K update for the Xbox One X,
Oh.
and yeah, XCOM has always been one of my favorite franchises of all time. And then what has happened is the problem with the game is that the load times were kind of brutal, and it was just it was there's a lot of slowdown in certain parts because there's so much going on in the sequel.
Yeah.
But I must admit, it runs nice, man. It's like my addiction has started all over again. So these are the things
nice.
that happen when Destiny's not doing what Destiny's supposed to do.
But I was like, and I think that's one of those things that part of the people that were so hooked on it for so long didn't play anything else. They're so
Yes.
mad that they have to go look for something else. And sometimes it's okay. And Bungie has said that there's no, but I mean, Destiny 2's got a lot of stuff to fix. But if you do want to take a break, that is okay. And that's literally what these times are for. Like, don't
Mhm.
like it's gonna be there.
You're right, but like you said, it's one of those things that it's like it becomes routine. It's like it's what you're used to. So
Mhm.
it's like you feel weird when you're used to playing that one thing or doing that
Oh,
one activity all the time.
yeah. I mean, we've got 150 hours of Monster Hunter so far, and I've been now some of that I feel like is like occasionally I'll leave it on, so I probably have like maybe 130. I probably haven't left it on that much, but I played a lot. I played a lot.
You played a lot.
I have played a lot, but I've had a lot of fun, and that's a game when it comes to in game that oh man, if it's like no game is perfect. There's things that wrong with it. The way the story and multiplayer is so broken in that game, like the way you have to try and get into just
Yep.
a story quest in that game is terrible. Like I
I
don't
hear
even know
you.
how that got out the door. But on the other end, the level of in-game and the multiple tiers of things that you keep having to be able to go after, please, just a small piece of that for what we could go for would be amazing. Like,
Mm,
I mean, and that's a game where stats don't matter, but gear is everything. And
mhm.
there's tiers and levels, and you keep going after more. And then they've got like a final tier to go for. And then it's like,
Mm,
then I just learned after you go for it for a little while and more the grind longer, then there's this final edition. It's like there's things to go for, and they keep having like weekly quests in there. Just even
nice.
changing up playing, you're still fighting the same monsters, you're still going through the same areas,
Mhm.
but it still feels fun to me. And yeah, it's probably fresh. I haven't played 2,000 hours of this like I did Destiny 1, but
Mhm.
I've really had fun. Now, the other one I saw on Twitter, and I literally just had to go to Steam and buy it. I don't know
What you
when I'm
got?
going to play it.
What you got?
Chrono Trigger dropped on Steam.
Oh, can I save you though? I heard bad things.
Really?
Yes, don't do it. I mean, I've heard horror stories. Shout out to my guys, Mr. Negative and the SDGC podcast. They just talked about it yesterday, and people's timeline went from yay to oh no, oh my god, is like to tiki torches. We'd be like, this is the worst part ever. They
Oh,
didn't even
weird.
remove. Yeah, I'm
Huh.
telling you right now. I literally just heard about that game.
It's like I
I
haven't
would be
played it in so
very
long. I
wary.
was like, oh, I wouldn't mind dabbling back in, but I'll look up before I open it on PC. I've got
Yes.
it on 3DS, and I know that's a pretty solid version from what I know. I mean,
Mhm.
it's through Nintendo, but man, I was hoping just to have it like on Steam forever. But yeah, I just saw that it dropped though out of nowhere, and I was like, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm actually cool that it actually dropped. That is that. I mean, Chrono Trigger is a classic, man.
Well, it's probably my favorite RPG of all time. So
Nice,
yeah,
nice,
it's just kind of the
cool.
one I got hooked on, played through, and just the way the fighting system works in the game, the teaming up, the duo and triple attacks, like
Mhm.
it was always so unique. I enjoyed it. So
Oh yeah, people talk about Chrono Trigger with such high regard. Like it's a top RPG.
yeah.
One of the classics, one of the legends.
But yeah, Monster Hunter's got me. You got XCOM. You got a little Kingdom Come as well.
Kingdom Come Deliverance. Those are the two, man. My life is like, I'm waiting for Destiny to do something.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I guess kind of where part of this discussion is going. As we get these updates, as we get little patches, we've got the February patch now, which we'll talk about, and things may get a little delayed. Things may be coming. Not everything's quite what you think it will be at first, and that's kind of why it's like it will be okay to look for these things because some people are going to wait for the bigger and bigger things to try and pull them back. But absolutely, as our guest previously, his recent article he had out there, his biggest thing is that it's not going to be the big expansion that pulls people back. It's going to be if the game is in a good place when something like that comes out. So they do, when they say fall and things like that, that's why I would rather have the fall update be its own thing and and it not like be paired with the expansion. Push the expansion back and get it. And again, as we've said, or at least I've said, I think you agree. It's like, get it right. Like have the game at a place where people are like, okay, we're thinking about coming back. Things feel good. And we got some good stuff coming. So, but it's just going to take a little while, but we will definitely keep you guys tuned. So that rambling aside, let's jump into this week at Bungie. See if we can keep it reasonable. So, to no one's surprise, new Monarchy 1 got the fancy pants.
Long live Monarchy, long live Hideo.
Literally, like I was like, I haven't played too much, but I was like, I made sure and got on both systems and had one character at least on new Monarchy, one on Dead Orbit. I didn't even worry about Future and worked out just fine. So sorry, Future.
Yo, I'm surprised Future Warcall hasn't won one faction rally.
Like they've given him garbage like every time. Like even if the perks are like mediocre on all of them, they get the crap end of mediocre.
That is true.
I mean, you had Rampage on the new Monarchy Scout or Pulse Rifle, so it's like, yeah, that was the best of the three. That's not a big surprise. And honestly, the armor kind of looks cool, but
yes,
a little bias there.
It is the coolest armor.
Like, I mean, if you like, I even got the armor and played with my friend for just a second. Showed he's like, that's like one of the better ones I've seen. I'm like, I know, like it stands out and it's cool. And this is. Yeah, and that'll take me back to Monster Hunter. It's like not everything is completely different. And now it's like if you take the fidelity of like Destiny 2 on PC, which is immaculate, like so good, and I had Monster Hunter at that fidelity, oh my god, I'm done. I'm living in that world. It looks amazing. So
absolutely. Shout out to the Monarchy.
So, but that's the same idea. It's like when you take armor sets like this, it's like they're okay, but even like you know, Destin say is like, okay, it's fine. There's another. We get a lot of paint jobs right now, so this one looks a little cooler than some, but like they're still all the same skins. It's like you guys need to model up and make new stuff. Like new Monarchy needs something like if it's a lion, I want a lion on my shoulder. I want like if have the mark be like a lion tail, have the chest be like a mane, like make it something kind of badass looking that's related to that. And then even Dead Orbit, you're literally dead. Have a little bit of undertones of death, some bones. Like,
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not feeling the Dead Orbit gear.
It's like black with like a white brushstroke. Like that's all it is. Like everything. And I'm going, that's all we get. Like somebody had fun and paint and was just like whoosh, and okay, I'm done. I'm like, I know it's more than that, so I don't want to. If there's a bunch of person listening to that, please, I don't actually mean that, but that's sometimes how it feels, especially in comparison to like the new Monarchy ornate, like lion gold ornament. Like,
and if you really think about it, not to cut you, but it's like new Monarchy is the only one I feel that got a complete revamp from D1. I feel like the other two, not that they didn't get, obviously they made changes, but it just, to me, new Monarchy stands out so much aesthetically. Like they really put their time into it as opposed to the other two factions.
Yeah, if you gave them truly a theme, like, I mean, for Extremities per se, if you had more of like a death tone, I mean, I'm running with that because Dead Orbit, like you think of Dead. But if you have like a skull or things like that on there, people are like, that kind of looks cool. And then say you gave Future War Cult just like, even if it's just like neon lights for where she's sitting, where Lakshmi's sitting up there anyway, like make it a little kind of crazy and glowing. Like if you made them more extreme, I think that's as opposed to everything being so subtle and kind of dull.
Yeah, facts. Totally agree.
So make stuff stand out more. So but they won, so it is $1,000 for your I honestly forget what the reward is. I know I picked it up.
I didn't even pick it up.
I got it, but yeah, it's a grand. Is it decent? Otherwise, is it worth 50,000? Do you need to go grind for it? I've heard probably not, but
probably not.
It is, if it's for $1,000, you may as well pick it up, add it to your collection. So
absolutely.
But I guess we'll see if New Monarchy is going to keep it going, or if somebody who's making the perks on those guns gets a little creative at some point.
Yeah, they're gonna have to hook up Future War Core. It's time.
So coming next, we've got on March 6th, we've got Iron Banner coming back. It is Clash. This is probably the last Iron Banner before it gets its change, which we'll get here in a minute. Still 4v4 right now, just Clash. Looks like we're gonna have. It looks like a Suros. If I'd guess, it's a Pulse, but I didn't look at the plan.
Yeah.
You got nice little grenade launcher there. I like that. I mean, these at least have at least Iron Banner has its kind of unique themes to it. But I still, even in Destiny 1, they had them like kind of wrapped in like, you know, the rope or the cloth or things like that. A little bit more just, I don't know. I feel like they've tamed a lot of stuff down. So
yeah, I agree.
Because it's all the same models and they're just reskinned. So that's mostly why. But
I agree. They look cool though. I mean, I like the aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? Like the grenade launcher look cool. Was that a scout at the bottom, or it's
maybe a Pulse?
Yeah,
I can't tell with that stock, but yeah, I didn't look them up. But I'm not going to go dig in the database at this point. They'll be there on Tuesday. They're not going anywhere. But I mean, they look pretty cool. Like, I mean, but unfortunately, it's like we could probably go through and be like, yeah, we know exactly what guns they're modeled after because the frame doesn't change, just the skin.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Be nice to see a little bit more, just, you know, make a real set as opposed to
they got to get more unique with the actual weapon, you know, design of models. They're repeating the model, even though like the skins, the Iron Banner skins are mean. Those are tough. Yeah. But like you said, those are definitely three guns that we've seen before as far as the model.
Oh, yeah. Like the Suros one over here looks like it came straight out of D1 as well. That looks way too. I mean, it's Suros.
That's the PDX.
Yeah. What's the yeah, PDX 45 or whatever it was. I used that pulse rifle for days. I love that thing. And that was the thing. It's like when I got that, and this will bring up other topics too, but it's like when I got my PDX 45 with like my perfect range and stability build, man, that thing, in PvP like rivaled just about everything, if not almost better. I love that one.
Facts.
So good. So if you didn't finish your challenges, those are coming back. So they're throughout the whole season. So if you didn't get your ornaments unlocked, things like that, you can still work on those. Apparently they said, so start punching everyone so you can get that chest ornament. That's definitely it's the rough one. So you got to get the melee. Honestly, for me,
you got to change your play style for that.
I trade. Yeah, I was like, it's probably going to be okay for me if I actually worked on it and grinded for it. I do enough punching. I probably kind of accidentally do, but sure. But as I said, they're like Crucible changes are coming to Iron Banner, so we'll give you more specifics very soon, as in now. So literally the next paragraph in the article, kind of like the little joke there. So, so the aforementioned future Crucible plans. So we've got Derek Carrol going to drop some knowledge on us about what to expect with 1.1.4 and some of the stuff they've been talking about with Crucible. So first thing, Iron Banner is changing. We knew that was coming.
Yes,
it's going to be 6v6.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. I mean, it's a shame that this one ain't 6v6 though.
Yeah, I know. We're one away, but yeah, this is your last one. Otherwise, wait for about a month from now, and you'll probably be sitting pretty. So the match time limit is 12 minutes. Score limit is 125 points, which feels, I think, Supremacy is probably about the same, something like that. Respawn time is 7 seconds, which feels long. Yeah. Maybe it's not. I haven't actually timed it in a while, but that sounds long in my head, but maybe it's not. This is cool, and they're kind of going back to D1 a little bit more, just on lots of things. We've got all control zones start off neutral. All control zones take slightly longer to capture, and if you have additional guardians, max of 3, so half your team, the zone is captured quicker. So literally, old school
D1 right there. All those last 3. Boom, boom, boom. All D1. I never understood that whole change they did when they initially started D2 with the whole, A and C are already yours. And then B, just fighting for B. I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't despise it. But I was always curious as to, again, why the need for the change. I didn't understand that, the logic behind it.
You had 2 options. You'd run either straight for theirs and you'd quick convert it and basically flip them and have 2 instantly. Now you've at least got to leave one person, even if they capture it slower, leave one back maybe, and then figure out if you're going to go for theirs, if you're going to go for B. Either way, you've got to, find your way to hold 2. So
yeah,
I think that'll be hopefully a nice, refreshing change. I'm curious how 6v6 feels in this, because now with the multiple people on a zone, there's incentive to have more people in there. So maybe Super's going to have a little bit more of that, big blast multi-kill situation, which we kind of miss a lot of.
Absolutely.
And a little piece also, speaking of Supers, if you participate in a capture, which is going to give you more incentive to hopefully go play the points, which is what kind of hurts if it's control. Yep. You get more super energy when you do. Now, I don't know how much that's going to be. How much would you like to see?
I mean, I played what's it, the what you call it, Control last Iron Banner.
Yeah.
And it was a very small amount. I mean, it gives you something, but it's a smidget. So you know, I don't know how to what is it to rank it as far as you know, to quantify it.
Like how much of your bar? Like would you want like a quarter, a half, like a tenth, like a lot or a little? Like how much do you think when you sit there and you hit capture and you're like you get capture points, like how much do you think that bar should move if you're getting a capture?
I would probably say like a quarter. The only reason, I mean, because you figure you're gonna do a lot of caps in the course of a game. So I mean, listen, if they made it more than a quarter, I wouldn't be upset. You know what I'm saying? It's obviously gonna be more supers, and more supers is always fun. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, I don't want it to get mayhem level crazy, because we have mayhem for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a, you know, fine line. I mean, to be honest, even if it is a lot, I guess I wouldn't be mad, you know, if they did that. What's your feeling on it?
I was like, I'm with you. I'm like kind of the more the merrier to a point. But it's like I think I like the idea behind this because it gives you incentive to go to give people a reason to be like, I'm not just going to go fight over B and beat my head against it. I'm going to be like, I'm going to take half the team and go run to the one that's not under mayhem right now and go try and steal theirs so I can get super and go work around and take B from the backside. Like, excuse me. So, I mean, for me, if it was, because I mean, I try and think when you see, like, when you look at the stats at the end, like, how many captures did you have? I usually probably see, like, the upper end is probably like 6 or 7, I think. Right. Because, I mean, once you kind of get them settled, they don't shift as much, unless you're really just like the two teams who play against each other who, like, rotate the entire time. And not all of them do that. But if you go 6 or 7 and if you're, like, high up and you get your super, say, twice from doing that, if you get it like maybe a third or a quarter, like a decent chunk, then I'm okay with that because you're actually playing the game mode and you're getting to have a little bit more fun with it. Anything that spreads the supers out so not everybody gets them at the same time alone is big. So
I like that. You made a great point. And now that you broke it down that way, that's actually a fantastic point. And to me, the huge thing is I love that it's rewarding the objective. So that, you know, in an objective-based game, that's what you kind of want. Game mode, that's kind of what you want. And to me, just the teamwork element of more people on the point, making it capture faster. I'm all about that.
So, I mean, these are positive changes. Like, honestly, I wish all of these would be in normal control, as opposed to just Iron Banner.
Very true.
So, I mean, I think this may be their dabble, and if people like it. And I guess we'll see. I don't know what the numbers are like and what their, you know, player base is looking at to test their numbers, but I'd love to just see control look like this all the time because all these things seem positive to me. Like the time, those pieces, I don't know the score for 6 people, those are fine, but literally just the zone starting from the last 4 bullet points here, take them all over to the other control, and then that will, that'd make it feel better. But here's the question: if they've been thinking about this, they've been testing it for a little while. Be like, hey, these are some of the changes we're thinking about. We're going to change up control to these 4 things, have them active now and what's out there. And if you guys are playing control, hey, give us some feedback while we're doing this. This is what we're looking at Fire and Banner. If these are the changes they've been thinking about, maybe on one of their hot fixes or something, make control be this for a couple of weeks. And then you'll have an idea before you launch Iron Banner.
Good point.
I mean, it's not a test server, but it'd be like, these are things they've obviously thought about. They've been testing since they're official now. Just let go of the reins a little bit and let us test them out for you. Like throw just those last four in there, see how it feels.
No, I agree. At the same time, I also still want it to be Iron Banner to be a differentiator. And I guess the way they're probably going to look is 6s, I think, right? You think 6 is going to be the main differentiator?
That's to be like where, I guess, to make Iron Banner different, because I haven't heard 6s mentioned anywhere else. It still seems 4s, doubles.
Good point.
We'll get to the other nice little bonus here in a second. But yeah, I guess Iron Banner 6v6 that's a way to make it different. But yeah, these sound great, so I mean it gives me even more incentive to play Iron Banner because I think it sounds like it's going to be more fun. So
yep.
Shout out if I'm just the one in the back running the points, I'm like, woo, super. Like I'm fine with that. Like it's kind of part of it. So
yeah, no, I agree.
So next one, they felt like dropping a little nugget for us here. Rumble will make its triumphant return. So we talked about the Crucible playlist that will be coming back. And they said no excuses, no complications, and absolutely no points for assists. So you get what you kill, and that's it. You get a single point per kill, just like in the Golden Age of video game. It's 1 for 1. There's not 100 points for this or that. It's literally, you get a kill, you're at 1. So Oh, by the way, it's 8 players this time.
That's huge.
That actually sounds fun. Like
that raised my eyebrow. I like that. I like that. Because even D1 didn't have that.
No, that's even more in there. And some of these maps they're built fairly smaller, at least for the ones we've got, because they are 4v4. They're not quite the 6v6. There's definitely nothing like First Light or Skywatch, those massive maps. Most of them are not quite to the Asylum level, but they're definitely not even in the medium range. Like Burning Shrine is probably a decent comparison. It's not a huge map per se. Like Pantheon, I feel like that's a longer one, or it takes farther to get between sides and stuff like that. So I think with 8 people in there, it's going to be pretty chaotic.
Absolutely, man. I actually got excited about that. Remember, I'm the PvP, so shout out to Chris Cobra Elite in the chat. He's like more for me to kill with the 8 people. I mean, that's got me excited because the problem with the current meta, as the Crucible guy, the problem with the current meta right now is that it's too team shot related. So you need to be able to lone wolf and have Rumble back with 8. I can see a little bit of chaos, but it also is gonna get back to the one-on-one gameplay. Now, yeah, you're gonna get team shot by like other Guardians and crossfires and stuff like that.
Crossfire will happen.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's gonna come down for the most part more of those one-on-one engagements and who's got the better gun skill, so to speak. And that kind of excites me. And just 8 in there, that's dope. And we're gonna talk about what else they're gonna do with these modes as we continue, but I'm excited about this. Actually, I do like this a lot.
I wish we could have Rumble. I wish we could have had it in January because I know so many people complain about the balance of PvP, and I understand like the time to kill slower and things like that, but it's due to the whole team shot mechanic. Things are skewed in however you look at it. But if you do a one-on-one, that's the way I think you would feel more. Test your balance and weapons, and I would just give me Rumble now because I want to know how those one-on-ones feel. If I'm going with Better Devils right now and I'm just getting worked by an auto rifle constantly, then hey, maybe it's not the best, or
you just nailed it.
So I mean, those one-on-ones, as you're saying, I cannot wait for those because if nothing else, it's a way for you to hone your own skill.
That's what made me a better Crucible player. Because what happened is I had my lineups, and I had, okay, let me bring, the last word in there, or I'll bring this gun or whatever, a legendary in or a scout, and I'm trying different things. And then also per map, there's some maps that play better to certain weapon types. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's like at the end of the day, it made me say, okay, you know what? This doctrine of passing is really putting in some work. And it was reflective of how good certain guns were. And that's when the meta starts to formulate, But it's hard in this team shot meta because everyone's sticking together. You get killed by 2 guys. You don't really know what's working. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, because even if I get the drop, if they just shift people behind a wall and come back out, I'm working on a new health bar and I'm still trying to kill somebody. And I'm at a disadvantage no matter what. And as they're a little slower, if they have more health at the start of a fight, I'm done.
Facts.
Now I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be a great way for us to get a better feel for what the meta is actually like. So we probably still know which guns are pretty good, but the one-on-ones will make things shine and not shine a little bit more extreme.
Facts.
So Mayhem is still Mayhem, which that's kind of all on its own. That's kind of a obvious statement, but basically they're saying these 3 modes will share a central location in the Crucible director, and they're going to rotate. So now finally getting a weekly featured playlist coming back.
You got to bring that back. Bring that back. Are they saying the weekly playlist is coming back? That
Crucible playlist is coming back.
Oh man, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is my D1 life. I logged in on that Tuesday. You had your Nightfall, you had all the stuff you had to do. Then that lower left-hand corner, you had those 4 or 5 things, activities that you can get reward from just doing Crucible. And to have now Call of Arms, right? We're assuming that's going to be separate, hopefully. And now these modes in the Crucible director page from a playlist that's going to look like it rotates. This is what I'm talking about. You got to give the Crucible guy. Because at the end of the day, and I used to go into this with Lord Zero a lot, is that as great as Destiny is when it's great, right? When the PvE is great, the raid is great. When you have those lows, Crucible and Trials is what's keep this things alive, man.
I mean, it is like there's a point where people burn out on some of the other stuff, but PvP is still fun. That's why people play nothing but Call of Duty. Is the story takes like 6 hours, but they play 200 hours of PvP.
Yo, Gabe Atticus killing us in the chat. He says, so we still hype for stuff they're giving back from D1. Yes, I'm hyped. Give it back to me.
We're just trying to get things that we want back in the game. Where they come from or where they were before, believe me, it's like we understand they were there. And it's like, that's probably one of the biggest things. I'll even sit there and talk to my wife about it and be like, so you took 3 years to learn a whole bunch of things from Destiny 2 or Destiny, and then you have Destiny 2 release and you're going, where's all the stuff? Like, what happened? You guys like... It's like they were working in two different literal like timelines and they didn't talk to each other.
Yes.
And I don't understand. And that's one of those, that's why I want to sit down. I wish it was like, was it 16 months? Did you have to redevelop this? Did you get shortened on time? Were there pressures from here? Did you have to I don't know. But when all these things are like, hey, we're listening here. Hey, we're doing this. Hey, we're bringing this back. It's like, thanks. But I was like, I can't even go play a story mission I want to play. How is that? How are those like not there? So we've talked about that before. I won't digress too much. So, but no, we absolutely understand. It's like, are we excited about stuff from D1 coming back? Yeah. Should they have been there? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how that goes. So
give us back the stuff we had.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like you took 3 years to make a good game. Like, why? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And shout out to Doc. Shout out to Doc's article. That was the last blip of his. It's like,
absolutely.
If it works, like,
you got to check out the new one. Shout out to that. He's got a new one up.
Yep.
We're going to talk about, he's giving suggestions on it. It's long on how to save it. And it's it's a really good read. I'll probably most likely put the link in the description so guys can check it out.
Look it up.
But we'll get him back on after that one because he's going to break the internet again. Absolutely.
So, moving on, we've got Doubles, which was the Crimson playlist. They said it's in its chrysalis. So, as you guys imagine, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, it's got its in-between stage. It's changing. So, they basically say it's going to turn into its beautiful butterfly. Metaphors and analogies, cheesy and what, but they do say they want to give it a little more polish, a little more flexibility, and they just kind of want that mode to, probably be tweaked. And they probably also want to figure out how to stop, infinite Shinobu's Vow grenades and infinite being invisible. Pretty much the hunters, you guys breaking Crimson Day. What are you doing?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
In Crimson Day.
We're gonna have a doubles playlist of just hunters. You guys can go beat the hell out of each other. And then we're gonna have warlocks and titans over here having normal doubles, being like, you guys are crazy. We're over here on this other side.
Let me ask you this though.
Divide and conquer.
Do you think that they will actually have the Crimson double mechanic in doubles, which is like with the abilities and stuff recharge faster when you guys are close?
I hope so. And I think that's where the polish and flexibility, maybe they need to balance the charge time, but I think that's why people who did play it enjoyed it. Again, it's another type of variety to it. If you want doubles, I mean, maybe you make, and here's another thing. Maybe doubles has the mechanic. Maybe you bring back things like, a D1 thing, Inferno. No map.
Facts. Yeah,
and doubles comes back, it's no map, it's no buffs, but it's still just 2-on-2 hardcore. Inferno was, you want to learn how to play this game differently when you live off of a radar, take that radar away.
I like that. I love that. I love when they did spooky trials like that too. Remember?
Oh, yes. Forgot about that.
Yeah, man, that was like a 1 or 2 week thing, but it was really cool. Let's bring it back to skill. Let's have modes without that radar. That's cool.
And I think this is where I heard it somewhere. I forget who was saying it. But that whole, I think it was Fallout Plays, actually. I was listening to one of his videos. When it comes to Crucible and when it comes to private matches, it cannot just be, hey, I want to play this game mode on this map. That is not what private matches should be. I've said it before. We want to be able to customize. As he's saying, it's like, take that mechanic from doubles, let us turn it on. Maybe it's like, and then he said, hey, maybe you flip it. Maybe if you're a certain distance from somebody, and I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was Fallout on this one. So I just want to make sure I'm giving the right source. But maybe you flip it. If you're farther away, you get a buff. Maybe if you're together, you can see the waypoints. But if you split up from your teammate, maybe you drop off the map and then maybe you get a buff that way. Let us have, I know that's a little harder to program per se, but let us turn on, it does proximity ability charging. Have that be like a radio button you can turn on.
Yes.
Mayhem mode. What level of mayhem? Be like 100%, 200%, 1,000%. Make it really stupid, but I mean, and then turn on what guns you can and can't have. Be like just hand cannons, and sniper rifles. Like, just let us have some fun and mix up the choices we want. And that's where I think people who used to do like Halo matches and custom matches, and you have an entire mode of Dota that came out of people creating their own stuff. Let the community make some things, and then when you guys see something that's really good, okay, take it, you know, Bungieify it and make it like polished, and then release that as a new mode. But
no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Players, so
yeah, I'm absolutely with you. Let us go wild with the options and the customization and the variety and diversity in the web. Like, let us go hog wild with it. And shout out to Game Addict. Yes, there's no excuse why PvP custom matches should not have been there. I agree.
Yeah, that wasn't even at launch. So,
yeah.
But hey, if they don't put it in and it's not, you know, because I thought Destiny 1 private matches were useless too. Unless you're just going to host a tournament for just specific people in there, it didn't do anything for me either. So
completely agree.
If they're going to put more features in it, great. If it's just the same thing, yeah, give it to us now. Like that. So
I agree.
So that's most of Crucible. So we've got things to look forward to. There will be other features coming with 1.1.4, which is the big Sandbox update. They said they're going to make everybody's lives better unless they're habitual quitters. So they're still working on the
cheating,
punishing the quitters and things like that. So positive stuff coming. Another little blip. It is March 27th when that's coming. So we've got, 25 days, couple more of these updates to go.
Baby, it's 1.1.4. That's the one I'm waiting for, baby.
Yep. So yeah, hopefully Crucible is, I like they're going back to D1, but that's what a lot of people want. So at least these sound like positive changes towards that direction. So
absolutely
more and more good things. So next we come to the Nightfall Scoring Q&A. Now I'll have some thoughts on this one, but so scoring went live on Tuesday, and they said they're going to monitor the initial feedback and see about tiers and scores and things like that. So a couple of things, the emblems are out there. So your emblem for the Nightfall that you get is going to be showing your score, what the threshold is to get the aura, things like that are going to be on there. Also, there's different variants for the Nightfall. So once you complete it to a certain level, you can get like a slightly different emblem, which is kind of nice to have some modifications to it. And they said, I guess the chance will be from 0 to 50%, I guess, each run. So, I mean, there's a little incentive. But again, this is where we need the Nightfall rewards to give me real incentive to run it. If I just get like a different, slightly looking emblem, I don't look at my emblem half the time. So if it's just slightly different, that's not going to make me go run the Nightfall again.
I agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Yeah, that kind of took me out the game with that. I'll be honest with you, but I'm just like, when I looked at when it came out, the patch came out, I went straight to your video, and I said, "Let me see it." And it was you, and I believe shout out to Cactus. I watched his video as well, and I'm just like, this emblem stuff is not doing it for me, bro.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I put the blip in there about EDZ, same thing. So
yeah, but we're gonna deep dive into that as you continue on. But yeah, it's not enough, and it's a shame because remember when we talked about what was it, the 1.1.3?
Yep.
How we thought we were going to get the rewards in conjunction,
right? And they got delayed, so they could polish them up for the arts and stuff.
It's like, that took the it took the carrot away, and I'm just like, I'm not running that, man.
No, and then there's another piece, and we'll come to it later. But they changed like one or two things, which I'll cover in the Nightfall itself, be it for people who thought they wanted to do it solo and things like that. I was like, we'll get to it. But they also mentioned for the variants, there's different tiers of the variants, and they say the scores say right now the current thresholds for the different variants, and you only get a chance as well. But it's 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, 80,000.
Right.
So to get a decent score, I can tell you now you're going to be running Prestige for sure, because without the modifiers, your score is pretty garbage, even solo. And whether I haven't even finished it yet, which is one thing I'll get to here in a second. But the fact that you have to do Prestige to get some of these things, the regular Nightfall kind of feels a little emptier, I guess.
Yes.
So they took some things away, and then the normal Nightfall is almost less incentive. But you have to, I think, run the normal Nightfall to go get the card.
Oh, okay, so you got to run it to get the card. Then when you get the card,
run the Prestige, then you have to run it again. But I think the card, at least to get the scoring. So that's why I was like, I need to finish the damn Nightfall, which is what I'm going to work on today. But I'll cover why I'm having some struggles with that. Esoteric still nailed it. Dude's crushing it. I know there's a couple people that have, but I was trying the other night, and there's a reason it's rough. So next, we look at so somebody asked a question, why are the tiers, so the 20, 40, 60, 80, for example, not visible in game? Basically, they're saying they're going to see what people do in the world. They set the current threshold for the ore at 60,000. You're not going to touch that for one in normal, and you definitely need a decent chunk of modifiers to get there as well. So you're going to have to earn it, which I'm kind of okay with. You are going to have to play pretty well to get these things. But on the other end, they don't want to show them, and I don't know, like, if you know what it is when it launches that week, even if it's just like a little, like, you know, a hotfix patch, it takes like 2 seconds to download on Tuesday once the reset's done. Have that be the update, and then when you get the card, you can actually see the ores, because at least it gives you a goal. If you don't know what you're going for and you can't see it, again, the transparency, guys, let us know what's out there. So I wish they would show up more, even if it's just, you know, numbers and, hey, next week they're going to change, but this is what it is this week. We at least know. Then, you know, somebody gets a card and would give, you know, people a little more incentive to get the card, be like, okay, hey, I want to get that emblem. I think that third one looks cool. I just want to make sure and get there. Maybe they don't have to turn on all the modifiers to do it, but otherwise they turn everything on, make it as hard as possible. They're beating their head against the wall, but they didn't get the one they wanted. So it'd be nice to know. I feel like I'm talking a lot today, so feel free to chime in whenever.
You're in the zone. I love it. Listen, I'm like, oh, I would have said that too. I'm like, damn, you know, got that one from me too. No, you're on fire right now.
Steal all the words out of my mouth. All right, so I've got my thoughts on this one, so I'm going to let you jump in first because this kind of wraps the Nightfall. Okay. So why were Nightfall modifiers removed? If you can see,
yeah, what's up with that?
You jump in first because I got my thoughts. So I'm going to.
Oh man, again, it's like I really wanted to get excited about 1.1.3, but this, I mean, let's break down what they said first, right? They say the removal of the base modifiers from Nightfall is because we want to emphasize core combat in this initial release and let the community define. Yeah, like who screamed from the mountaintops? I want core combat, no mod. Who is this for? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, why take away things that people like? There's no clamoring for this. So I just don't understand this design choice. I appreciate the transparency. Old Bungie, we wouldn't even got that sentence, right? It would have just been taken away and we don't know why. And then, you know, you wait until it comes back, till they talk about it coming back. But yeah, they're saying they're going to revisit the modifiers in the future. They're not dead and buried. Open the player feedback. So they're not dead and buried, but they're not here. There's no real reason besides this quote unquote core combat. This is a misstep. I didn't like that. I mean, that's what makes things exciting. You know what I'm saying? Having that modifier, having those different burns, I don't know, man. Bounties, you jump in, man. I don't know with that one.
No, I mean, I'm in the absolutely same sentiment. I literally logged in, doing my weekly reset video, going through it, and I had to literally like cut it and start it again because I went in there and I looked at Nightfall and I'm going, what? Hold on, the modifiers are gone? What happened? It's like, what the hell, guys? Like, I know the timers were going away. So some of the modifiers were going to leave. So killing time, anomalies, things like that were going to go away. That I can kind of understand, but you've got stuff like Torrent to give you a nice bonus, make the week maybe a little easier for some. Then you'll have things like Momentum. That gets to be a pain in the butt. So then you've got a challenge week. But at least it gives it variety. No other strikes have modifiers. So now literally 5, like regulars, heroics, and the normal Nightfall has no modifications to it. So you're literally running the same 3 strikes. It just feels like the regular Nightfall got cranked up to heroic and I'm getting my butt kicked.
Yep.
Because we don't ever feel powerful, which is a whole different problem. But the only way is the prestige. Like, and I'm not saying it's not a bad thing to have modifiers on the hardest one because, you know, you get a challenge in there, but it's like, don't take it away from the other one. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Again, it's the same thing with the scoring in the sense of, okay, you got it in Nightfall, but, you know, why is it not in the strikes? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just these weird decisions sometimes that I just don't get it, you know?
Like the list felt pretty curated before. It always seemed to be there may have been 2 different sets of modifiers for any given strike since D2 released. They never seemed to be, there were certain ones that would never get momentum, or there were ones that would just seemingly never have Torrent on them. Like Torrent seemed to show up a lot because it was positive, but there were certain ones that only had certain modifier combinations on them, and they never, like, I don't think Anomalies was ever, they never put that obviously in Curse of Osiris. The Anomalies modifier was never in there. So they've curated those modifiers to know which ones go where, which ones we want. So therefore, you've got, and they say that, hey, they do internal play testing. That's where the thresholds come from. Do the internal play testing with the modifiers, and you'll still have an idea what the number is going to be. It works the same.
Exactly. At the worst case, you tweak it after the fact. But it's like, why try to be my father and say this is why
you're going to play the core game with no fun involved? I'm like, kiss my butt. Like, choice words left out of that phrase right there. But seriously, it's like, why do you have to take? Biggest question, why remove the fun? If Torrent is gone for a while, and the only thing we get is that Singe burn, because the other two modifiers make it harder. Singe is the only one that gives you a bonus.
But this literally reminds me of Doc's article, Whack-a-mole.
Yes, that's literally, and they whack the wrong mole.
This is Bungie Wack-a-mole.
Yeah. Like, okay, you guys are having fun with like modifiers and Torrent. Okay, we're gonna go back to base Nightfall. Like, no,
for no reason. For no reason.
There's no reason why you can't have Torrent be on 1 week. It'd be like, okay, that's a higher score threshold. You have playtesters in there. I know they're testing other stuff. Have 1 or 2 groups run the Nightfall a few times, get a gauge and run with the number. It doesn't have to be perfect the first week. Feel it out. It's fine. Then you have, momentum another week. Okay, this one's harder. This is a lower score threshold. That's fine, but it gives variety to it. Mix it up on the weeks. That way, like, if either content creators, and I'm not saying we need content, but most of them desperately do. If you run a Nightfall and you're going, hey, this week we got Torrent, the scores are higher, but work with your team, use those, use them more. Okay, this week we've got momentum, just because that one's harder. You've got those little, you have to keep moving. So it's definitely one where you got to be a little more mobile. Just like adjust according to that. Like you've got the ones in there, and you also have modifiers that are in the adventures, which there's a thing here. It says we're currently investigating an issue where heroic adventure modifiers do not appear for some players.
Yeah.
So they have other modifiers, which actually a couple of those were kind of cool. There was like melees are more if you're closer, or grenades do more damage, or one was supers do more damage. I'm like, where are those modifiers?
Yeah.
Bring them in. Yeah. Rotate those through. Like just give us, you have content. Same, I'll go back to Monster Hunter because I've been playing a buttload of it, but it works as a pretty decent reference right now. And I kind of want to do a video of, and I'm sure people have, of what it could learn, but it's what most any game could learn from other games is like, nobody's perfect, but there are certain things they do right. And if you have content, use it in different ways. Biggest thing I can ask for.
No, completely agree, man. Completely agree.
Yeah, it hurt on
Whack-a-mole. Papa Bungie letting us know
that actually sounds kind of terrible.
Defining what fun is for us.
Yeah. But no, so the challenge cards, the way they work, you've got the option to die and go all the way back to orbit, but that will, if your whole team dies. If you're doing it solo, well, you get 1 life. So got to go flawless. You've got the option to basically tick up the amount of your level that you want deducted. So obviously for prestige, you want to be 330. So 335 is where you're going to be. But you can lower up to 40 points of your level to go from 335 to 295. In theory, at least. So that will give you more points on top.
Right.
The other one to add is the Singe, and you can choose either Arc, Void, or Solar. And it really depends on who you're going for. The Infinite Forest has everything, so it's kind of a gamble, but in the end, you've got mostly Cabal. So Cabal and Vex are going to be your main 2 that you're going to face there, so plan accordingly. From what I heard, Arc was probably a reasonable one to pick. Or Void, actually, no, I think Void was the good one to pick this week. But you can pick it, and yeah, you get, a little bit of a burn. I think it's like 25% more going both ways, so they can do more damage to you as well. So, I mean, those are okay. But again, it's only from the cards. You can choose it, but they don't give us too many options. And they did say this is my Nightfall, challenge cards 0.9. So they do hopefully want to add more to that. But I'm like, you better fix the normal Nightfall too.
Absolutely. Have to fix it. Yeah.
Now, one other thing that changed, and it was one thing that if you were doing a regular strike, you noticed, and I don't know why they changed this for the Nightfall because it was already hard enough, and the time limit's there. When you died in the previous Nightfalls, you just have a timer. Even if you were solo, you would sit there, wait for the timer to go, and then you would respawn where you're at in the same instance. The enemies have the same health, the boss has the same health. You could keep working it down potentially, and that's what I was actually thinking it would be going forward. The way normal and heroic strikes work, if your team wipes, say on a boss run, you start the whole boss run over. That's how the Nightfall runs now. So it's checkpoints, and if you wipe, it's not a timer to restart. You go back and you start the whole checkpoint again. So this week, It is the Tree of Possibilities strike with the big Cabal Centurion in the end. He's a beast.
And yeah, he's not. He's a beast. He's a beast.
And he's trying to run this thing solo. Like, if you make it through 2 of the rooms, but you die in the 3rd, you got to start it all over. Now, I know this feels more like Destiny 1 because that's kind of how it worked. If you failed the boss room, you had to start it over.
Right. You basically go to darkness.
And he's kind of the only one with phases, which is slightly annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go through a certain section, even like the Infinite Forest, if you're going through there trying to go fast, and again, the Infinite Forest, they wanted to incentivize you for killing everything, right? That was the big thing. So when I go through and I try and kill everything and I'm going solo, for example, I know they still want this to be a group activity, but it's not match made, so don't force it.
Right.
When I go through and solo it, I don't even finish if I want to kill everything, I barely would even get out of the Infinite Forest before that timer was done. Wow. If I want to kill everything.
Wow.
So, like, I'll go. I mean, I can put up a night fail video instead of a nightfall because I haven't finished it yet.
Night fail.
I did one of those back in D1, and I got some hilarious comments out of that. But yeah, it was like literally my nightfall failure because you guys could watch me be like, nope, nope,
it's not happening.
So, yeah, it's just all of those pieces where if you were, some people are like, hey, I want to do solos. Like, it didn't get easier. I mean, if you had the timer and you had to do it, fine. You wouldn't score and you lose it, but you could at least work your way through it. That is
true. Yeah, you're right. No, that is absolutely true.
And I'm not saying I won't do it. And it's like, trust me, I'm going to go try and beat my head against that wall here in a little while because I do want to still do it because I've seen others do it and I know it's feasible. But in that room, you've got a pretty small box. And it kind of takes me back to why does every strike have to be a place where I can't hide, but you have people that don't miss?
Yes, the accuracy uncanny, and there's no way to really kind of hunker down to try to hide away.
You've got like Scions up top that are sniping me on top of everything else, and they really don't miss, and they kind of hurt. So it's like I'm running around the room. It's like I figured out the first room, kind of got that one going. Second room's getting a little dicey, but it's like it's optional. And then you have the ads come in on top of trying to avoid him, and you just don't have a lot of place to hide. Then the lasers come into the room, and I'm going, holy crap. So yeah, it was a struggle when I was trying to do that Tuesday night when I worked, but taking away the modifiers, like that at least makes it more fun. Taking away the checkpoints are back, so you're cranking that one back up. You've already got the kick it back to orbit if you want to. Right. So I don't know. It's like it's not everything I hoped for, and they took stuff away that didn't seem necessary. So I'm hoping they listen to feedback, and because the reason why were Nightfall modifiers removed? Because a lot of people asked.
Yeah.
So I know that was addressed, but yep. It was unfortunate that it was intentional. Top score right now is 222,000, which is a buttload.
That's a lot.
Esoteric, for example, I use him as a good reference because of that dude can solo everything. I know he runs with a good team. He, I think, with max modifiers had about 165. So that's still a pretty big gap to the max. I mean, shout out to these guys. They did a hell of a run. So yeah.
Sure, yeah, shout out to those guys, man. That's a good run. That's a fantastic run. So but please bring back my damn modifiers.
But the other thing I want to kind of get to is the timer. They said they removed it, which is fine, but it's still working against you.
Yeah, it is because I mean, but I kind of understand that on some level, right? Because you don't want people to just sit back and get everything off. You know, like I do feel that time should have some bearing on the score.
Yeah,
because it did in D1. I remember, like, you know, didn't it after a certain point, like it would kind of affect a lawyer score or not?
Yeah, you just couldn't get it. It was like, I think Challenge of Elders or something like that. It would, if you took too long on a room, it would start deducting. But it would it would go 50, 100, 250. It would crank up quick. This is just like a constant running deduction. So even when you start and kill a guy, you're losing points instantly. So you're constantly losing. So I mean, there's the incentive to go through. But I mean, most of the stuff I watched, I mean, and some of these guys who got a high score probably didn't lose much. But I was like, most of the guys I watched, it's still like, even if you get to the, you know, the half point, if you're running solo, I guess this hurts solo people more than anything. So if you want to run solo, it got really demoralizing more than anything. No, it's to the point of when you get to, you'll go 100%. At 15 minutes, you get 50%. And then at 18 minutes, you get no more. But I really wish at that point, just because it just kind of pisses me off every time I kill an enemy, it's +0, +0, +0, +0, +0. You got an orb +0 and killed an enemy +0. constantly the entire time. Once you're done at that 18 minutes,
yeah, that kind of
like take that away. Like I don't need to see that. Like I understand
that is demoralizing.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, you suck. You're too slow. You're not getting anything else. So
sure,
I mean, people listening to this can be like, dude, Bounties get good. You used to do this. What happened? That's fine. Like, I got to get my act together. And I totally agree with you guys. Like, I know I'm better than this. What the hell's going on? It's like, and it's fine. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those, like, take the +0 away. Just like, I don't need that update on the screen. Even if even if you're running as a group and you're going a little slower, just take it away. Like, nobody needs to see that. So,
no, I agree. I agree with you. You make a valid point.
Either way, I mean, do I think it's perfect? No. So there's some changes that need to happen. I just hope they're open to feedback, because if this is what they all put together and liked and ran, I do want to run it as a team. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of people running a lot of stuff right now, but I do want to kind of run as a team and see how it goes. So I will need to do that to hopefully have a little better feedback next week. Just I've literally worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so this will be my first chance to kind of jump in.
I feel you.
Below that, we've got spawning woes. So they talked about kind of a glitch in the Leviathan where people weren't spawning. And to my surprise, they mentioned a memory issue. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. That sounds familiar with the vault and V1. What are we talking about? So basically, it's at the point where if you're in the vault, or not in the vault, you're in the Leviathan raid, and it's basically saying if you spread yourselves out too far, apparently the game is trying to handle, I guess it sounds like, all of the area in between, and it kind of runs into a memory capacity issue to a point, and you won't spawn in. So it's kind of important. You have to spawn or wipe and die and then kind of get everybody back in. It's a weird thing I've seen, and it's more rampant recently because they've been giving loot in the raid, which is a good thing. But then somebody's going to be sitting there, like, after they finish the dogs, like looking at their armor, moving stuff around. The other people are like halfway across the map. So yeah, I understand why it's just been coming up. They said they just said stick together and you can try and avoid it. That's not an acceptable fix, and they know it. And these are the comments I do like. They're like, hey, this is not acceptable. Like, those are some of the things that it's like, thanks for being candid. We're like, we know that's not real, but thanks for saying this is a way you can avoid it if you're seeing that a lot.
I respect that. I've been really respecting them with the transparency on bugs, even before, like, they tell us, like, there's going to be a bug for this, or look out for that, that kind of thing. I respect that. If
they know it's there and they're like, hey, this is there, we already literally have the patch, like, certified with Sony and Microsoft. It's going to launch, and we'll hit it with the next hotfix. Like, we know, we're sorry, but, just stuff to expect. The heads up is nice.
Yes. Huge.
I mean, it's a baby step, but it's like, if you want to build trust in your community, we appreciate that, as opposed to, oh, here's the broken gun. We know the gun's broken. Have fun. I mean, there's two sides to play that, and they've been progressively getting better. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
A couple other, speaking of known issues, with 1.1.3. So they said modifiers are currently not available for some players on heroic adventures, which is weird that it's some players. I haven't actually tried those yet. Destiny emblem statistics. So, for example, the European Dead Zone tracks the number of ghost scannables, like whatever weird thing that you go up and scan and get a little bit of lore out of. It's not showing the right number for the max. There's total of 41, and apparently it's only showing 38. So, and then they said some scannables found do not update until a player returns to orbit. So, like, the cards don't update on the fly.
Right.
And they also said the prestige challenge card score multipliers, they have an issue present on the challenge cards that do not update properly when players are selecting singe modifiers, which is that damage type modifier. So they're still working on that one.
Hey, transparency. I like that. At least I know what's going on. I'm not going crazy. Even when they were talking about, was it breaking down Masterwork score or something, they said, last one. So yeah, I can respect it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, freaking out. Did it happen? No, you're good. Just
exactly. Moving on. What else we got?
Just a little bit of movie magic, and that pretty much wraps it up.
That's about a wrap. All right.
So down below, they basically say it's like, they've got challenges to complete for Iron Banner. So he's going to come back, work on your guys' ornaments. Nice. It's March, so we are within the month of the 1.1.4 update. So I know you're chomping at the bit to get to that one.
You know it, baby. It's all about 1.1.4.
Sandbox is going to be like, Sandbox is big, and this is again, it's been since launch. We haven't had a Sandbox touch, and it's going to be 6 months.
Yeah.
It takes too long to do these. Like, they've got to find a way to make them quicker, or don't be as worried about stuff getting unbalanced. Just know you can update it the next week be like, hey, this is the meta for the week. Stuff's a little broken. Have some fun. Next week it's different. Like, find a way to do that quicker and just be more fluid with your changes. It's like they're in a very old. Like, as I'm looking over stuff, like, you've got, you can do like sprints every couple weeks or like whatever. They're doing like a full 6-month planning session, and then by the time
it's like done, you're way too long. It's way too long. And at the end of the day, it's like you just said. I mean, let us, make some tweaks to the things that we're complaining about. You don't have to go super heavy-handed, but at least make some changes, and then let the community play around with it. Let the meta settle in, and then from there, you can make adjustments accordingly. But it's just like they're so, the thing with Bungie, and I believe it, shout out to Doc again, is like he mentioned, like when he was on the show, is that they're so data related, relevant. They rely on it so much, and that's great. Don't get me wrong. You can see trends and what's going on and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if your community says gun X is not fun, or
that's a lot of them.
Yeah, I have no reason to use grenade launchers. Like, they're offering a grenade launcher.
Yeah, grenade launchers.
And Iron Banner. It's like, yeah, it looks cool, the aesthetic, the skin.
No one's going to use it.
No one's using it. So again, at the end of the day, like, or even, you know what? Poll the community. They like to, poll. Remember when they polled, who do you want to win? Dead Orbit, Monarchy. Poll your community. Listen, get directly from the source. And if the source is saying, hey, you got to do something with, I don't want to keep picking on grenade launchers, but
no, they're terrible. So that's fine.
Awful. They're awful.
So terrible.
It's like the worst weapon class right now. It's like, there's no reason I'm going to do this. So you have to do something, you know what I mean? And then let it settle. If it went overboard or heavy-handed, you pull it back again. But again, that there has to be more frequency. There has to be this waiting 6 months for a Sandbox update.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
I mean, you've got, so Division was an example of too much with the elites. That was one of the things I noticed, because people were farming Division tech and high-end things and resources and stuff. So when they released like another patch, things were so skewed to the people that had so much, like streamers and things, because they play all the time. The average person was kind of screwed. You don't have crafting and things like that in this game. But again, as you're saying, it's like, take some time, but they still did frequent updates.
I agree.
So,
frequency is the key. That keeps the engagement. Because think about it, it's like, again, at the Crucible play, I was telling people, like, there's no incentive to at least, as bad as all the other conditions are right now in Destiny, right?
Yep.
At least a PvE guy can say, hey, I got my 6, let's run the raid. Hey, I got my 3, let's run the Nightfall. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
There's still like, there's no real, incentive to continually play Crucible, especially when things are just grouped up in the quick play competitive. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and people don't like trials as it is right now. So it's like, I mean, I hate to be all doom and gloom, but these are the things. So why not shake the meta up for these guys? What's the worst that's going to happen?
People have fun for a week, like laser tag. Bring that back, by the way. Laser tag. That was so much fun.
Hell yeah.
But
Prometheus lens.
Yep. So, I mean, that was a lot of fun, but it's like things that we're missing. Give us incentive to play. And you guys are going to get tired of hearing about Monster Hunter, but it's still, they'll do like weekly quests, like, but it's something new. You'll fight different monsters at a different location, or you'll get this little crazy cosmetic set from doing, from farming this quest a couple of times, something like that. So same principle, like, put some stuff in there that's just like, but I mean, as you've said it before, your, what was the big Shaxx bounty for Nightfall 2 rewards?
Oh, True Meaning of War.
True Meaning of War, yeah. And then just bounties in general. The daily bounties, and I think Doc mentioned this too.
Doc mentioned this in the new article. Yep.
Yeah. The bounties as a daily reason to play differently. A daily thing to do something different. That's why people would do that. I mean, there's a point where I stopped doing bounties because I probably had so much of everything I was good, but that still filled up a lot more time. That was more reason to go back and be like, hey, I want to knock out these bounties. But again, we have to have incentive to go after other things. So, I mean, there's part of it.
No, I agree. And it just incentivized. And, shout out to Kaibatu. We and him went, we used to fight about this in D1s. He used to hate bounties. He was like, they can simplify it. Well, they basically did what he wanted, which is basically put it in almost on the director screen in a sense, but it's not specific how the old bounties were. Now it's a general thing. Flashpoint, hence the name of the show. And, then you got call to arms. Okay, cool. But once that's done, there wasn't like kill the hive on the moon. But remember, it used to be very specific. You know what I mean?
And there were reasons to play. That was one of the things he mentioned. Was a reason to play a different class.
Yes.
Everybody, like my Titan, I'm never not striker. Most of the time. Like if I was gonna go play Eater of Worlds, I know Solar is very good for the boss because of the explosive hammers. But outside of that, for most things, for PvP, for throwing grenades in public events, for most things, I run that way. If there was a bounty to be like, hey, go get whatever it is, solar kills, or go get void kills, or blind people with your bubble, like make specific things to have people be like, oh, this class isn't so bad, let me play with it for a little bit. It gives people a reason to go experiment, goof around, or just force them to play a different way for one little blip of time. They don't have to, but it gives them an option. And then if you incentivize them with something, maybe it's cool.
Absolutely. I agree. I think maybe bounties do need to come back in some form, because again, like maybe you make an NPC useful. You know what I'm saying? God knows that. What's the shipwreck name? Man, they ain't doing nothing.
You get to be down now. Yeah.
She ain't doing nothing these days in the town.
People was like, she still got a job.
I mean, they don't have to come from her, but you know what I'm saying? Like they've gotta come from somewhere.
I was like, they're saving her for Sparrow Racing. If I actually believe that, I'd be happy, but I still don't know if that's ever coming back.
I know. I'm very.
I was like,
surprised.
That's so far. If you could see like a Bungie bulletin board somewhere,
that got
and they've got the list of the priorities, that's way at the bottom right now.
Because let's be honest, if they announced Sparrow Racing right now, the community would be like, no.
They would flip their lid and absolutely be like, so you've been working on Sparrow Racing, but we don't like shooting people. You guys got to work on priorities a little bit. So of course they're not doing that, and they're working, but it's just like, again, the misstep with the Nightfalls. Why take the modifiers out? Why remove the fun? Why are you worried about a score being skewed? So say everybody gets the Nightfall aura. So be it.
So what? Exactly.
It lasts for 2 weeks and then they're done.
You want people to play that. You know what I'm saying? You absolutely want. And I want to shout out real quick. Rikakis, he made a great video about the Nightfall. And it's like another reason why the Nightfall is in the sense that it is. That's why I was so bummed out about the specific rewards, because exotics and everything are so plentiful right now, right?
Oh, I know.
You can get exotic doing a public event. You get exotic. Then now with all this, extra rewarding all the time, that was like their quick fix band-aid. Just reward them to death. Just reward them.
And they broke it. And then unfortunately, it's like you're like, now they don't feel. Now they're not rewarding.
Now they're not exotic. Now there's no. I miss when and like I said, Shadow Cat is one of his recent videos. Like, I miss when you walked around the town and you didn't see, like when you finally got your first one, you coveted it. You was like, wow. Like I got my first, like, because it didn't drop a lot. But the thing that always helped was I remember saying, hey, I got to run the Nightfall this week for a chance at one. That was the one. Like, that was a chance for that Galahorn, a chance for that Icebreaker, whatever it was. They have to stop with the drop rates being so high. They have to stop with the 3 coins. They have to stop with the faded engram.
I mean, don't 3 coins. I don't even want that anymore. Just get rid of it. It's broken anyway at this point. I don't even tell people to buy it in my Zer video, which will probably get in a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, because the minute to me, faded engram's even worse, because you literally get through RNG is determining which exotic you don't have. So every week now you go to Zer, he's going to give you everything you don't have. You're going to have all the exotics so fast. Yeah. You're going to have
what
them
you really have to do is your milestones for the week, and you're going to get about 4 from that anyway. Yeah, it feels like it, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, so... No, it was like one other piece in his article too was, and this is kind of what I was going back to, is like, take what you have, take the content you've got. And this is one of the things he's saying that will help build faith and bring some people back, is use the content you have to make new content. So he was talking about basically it'd be like a Nightfall tier, but basically take a high level tier patrol, give mini bosses out there, crank up the difficulty, give a reason to go do that. Have maybe a different level of different weapons that only come from doing that. Stuff like patrol, which is basically used for Flashpoint, do your public events, and I'm done. You have these worlds that you've built. Mercury is kind of small, but the rest of them are pretty decent size. Tiny.
Yeah.
and give us a reason to go play around in those. Like he even
Absolutely.
said, it's like, you know, so you can see your map, you break it up into checkpoints, you feel like you've got a mini boss here. And if, say, in the same landing zone, you've got more people, you go through with your team and you start picking these bosses off. The more of them you do without dying, for example, you get a higher and higher tier reward, which comes back to his other pieces, the rewards. Like, if I say Monster Hunter one more time, you guys are probably going to.
I know we go.
No, but what I
get a
want,
drink
like,
every time you say Monster Hunter.
but as you progress through the game, you get better and better gear, better and better weapons. Your character literally never gets stronger unless you're wearing something better or you're using a better weapon. That's literally how you get better, is what you use. Same thing. We have gear. It makes you better. Our level could not exist at 20 or 25 and it would not matter. So that's either here nor there.
Yeah.
But yeah, give us and this kind of goes back to the rewards mattering, like Nightfall raids. Maybe it's that high rank or high rank's a Monster Hunter term, but maybe it's a legendary patrol. I think that could have been what he called it. Give us certain things that only come from there, make them somewhat difficult to get, and make your power level matter.
Absolutely.
So
make the activity the source of the reward, the specific reward. So that encourages. Think about how much engagement you get with the Nightfall again. Think about how much engagement you get with the raid. That's what's going to make people play that content over and over again. Make them play the hard content. That's how you solve it. It's really simple. And again, stuff not to beat a dead drum, it's stuff that already existed.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there, but yeah, it's like just they've got to take away like everybody being able to whatever. And they probably won't do it for Maze expansion because it's still within year 1, but year 2, I don't know how they could do it. But
I don't know how they're gonna do it, Bounties, because I'm gonna be honest. I know where you're going. I know where you're going. They're on a slippery slope now because the community's so pissed off, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is, we all agree that there's too many reward sources. Like it's just way too giving. So it's like, I think if they start taking stuff away, even though I would love it, I would be like, yes, get 3 coins out of here.
Pissed. Yep.
Get all this stuff out of here, like, and bring it back. I think they're so fearful of the reaction that it's just gonna stay. And these are the things, and I have a confession. These are the things that worry me about D2 ever coming back. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible. In my heart, I feel they got one Taken King moment left in them. One moment, because September, I mean, it may be too long for some, but by September, all those systems that we want, randomized loot, the mods and all that stuff, when we look at the the development roadmap, and we sit there and we're like, okay.
Randomized loot's not on there.
Yeah, I know.
That's what we want, but yeah, that's not on their roadmap.
That's not, and these are the things that worry me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you've got that. That's your last shot. I'm gonna be brutally honest. And I'll still do these flashpoints because I love the game so much. But it's just like, if they don't get it right by then, and I know even Doc said that might be too late for him.
Yeah.
But bro, they've got to hit a home. It's like it's baseball. It's the bottom of the 9th. You're down by like 2-3 runs. People have gone on to other games. You've not got to knock it out with the marketing, the gameplay. Show the community how much it's changed.
Show them how much it's changed, but don't show me everything you're going to give me.
Right, absolutely.
I was I want to know the changes, but don't show me a full strike. Don't keep it secret.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
they still have to be seriously. There still has to be hardness. There still have to be the light level stuff, but there has to be that randomized loot, all that stuff the community wants. And they've got to hit a home run. They've got to pitch the perfect game. They've got it's so much, because the minute randomized loot's not there, the minute what's the high list stuff that the power level, the minute that stuff, and the raid has to be amazing, right? That's another thing, right? The raid, not saying the Leviathan wasn't.
Yeah, Leviathan was cool. I
like Leviathan. I'm talking about like Eater of Worlds. Don't get me wrong. That wasn't terrible either, but it was short. It was compact. It was the small one-off kind of a thing, right? They've got to knock it out the park, because September, man, and you see these new games coming, and
I honestly think, I know Activision said it, so unfortunately, I probably bet that it will be before the end of the year. But I think it would serve them better to spend more time fall, like kind of like let people fall. I mean, most people have fallen off already. So your willingness to keep trying to push out content, barely get people back, not make big changes is not going to make that big of a difference. They've really got to do they need to rework so many things.
Yeah.
I was like, honestly, I don't even care if it's March. Like if it's a year from now for Taken King 2.0, that's a better time to release stuff typically anyway, because you start September, they shoot for the holidays. But I feel like it's not enough time for them to get the game in a state that it's worth it. Then if you do it, still you want it in that second half of the year. You've got Red Dead Redemption 2, you've got whatever the Battlefield is, you've got the fall releases of Insanity, which everything steps on each other's toes anyway.
Right.
And if you creep a little closer, you have to push it back. All you do is get closer and closer to that mess, and people are like, why am I going to do this when if I know I'm still probably at least going to play a Call of Duty?
You're making valid points. You're making valid. Okay, I'll let you finish, and then I got a
no. It's like there's a CEO at Activision that's going to be like, yeah, and we promised shareholders that. So if you are going to bet a lot of money on a franchise, do you piss off shareholders for a little while, but take more time to build a game that's going to hopefully bring them back? Or do you feel it's already, I mean, it's like, I know it's a huge ask because making the game and changing the systems is not an easy thing. And there's a lot of things we're asking for because it's not easy to build hey, put a new boss in European Dead Zone, put a couple different ones in each little area. And you've hey, you've got to go through a couple waves, like a horde mode. There's so many things I know horde mode. I'm sitting there going yeah, I wish, but I was they had stuff but even things Doc mentioned stuff like the public event type Archon's Forge, things like those that don't exist anywhere. And I don't know if that's something maybe they have planned for this, Gods of Mars thing or whatever, and that'd be a way to do it. But
listen,
you go, and then I was
this is what I got to say with it. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel what you're saying. Take the time, get it right. The problem that they have is they have the gun to their head by Activision is far. It's the only game. This is where I feel sorry for them.
Yeah,
it's the only game, and don't get me wrong, the game made a lot of money, so I shouldn't feel too sorry. But but it's the only game where new content is consistently demanded. Think about other games. When you play another game, you get your content, you get it packaged, and that's it. You play it, you're done. Destiny has different requirements because of the ravenous community, because we go through the content so fast, right? So it's even if the content is amazing, they have to keep looking ahead. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And the problem is it's already, the player count and the player base is so low now compared to, what it should be and how D1 was, that if my fear is if they push that back out of September and say, hey, let's wait until next spring or whatever. I mean, it could go both ways. I could see a situation where people be like, out of sight, out of mind. That game don't exist. It's dead. I'm done. Or maybe they have a Rainbow Six Siege moment where it's I remember when Rainbow Six Siege came out. People were like, oh, no, this is not it. This is not what I wanted. Yada, yada, yada. They took time off. They got it right. And then, what I'm saying, at the end of the day, they brought it back in such a great state that and then I think they had a free, which I know Destiny would never do, but they had a free, Rainbow Six is free for the weekend, right? Yeah. And then they
could do that.
They could had a free play, right? Had all these people come back to test it, right? After they made all the patches, all this, whatever. And then right then, Rainbow, I remember it like it was yesterday, that following week after the weekend, that Tuesday, they dropped an expansion. And it was but it was really good in conjunction with the patches and the fixes they did. Yeah. So maybe they can go that route. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen it, shout out to England. I've seen people say the game's so bad, how dare you charge me for another expansion right now? Yeah. So it can be better, It's a tough one. It's a tough one, man.
Yeah, I was it's just when as much fun as I've had, then I see stuff like Chrono Trigger come out. I'm I'd love to go back to that, but then it's but I still want to play Destiny. There's a desire to still be in that world because it's one that's been part of my world for 3.5 years now. And it's one of those you want to keep going, but it's if we have no incentive, and the shifts kind of kept going towards that in D1, Iron Banner, you'd get up to max level, and it's Iron Banner was not literally is just time, it's not skill,
right?
And I mean, go to something else. Like there were basically, as you progress through in Monster Hunter, there's certain levels you get through. You'll go through and you're like, okay, I got, my first basic weapon. I upgraded a little bit. I'm going through. I can take most of these out. Okay, this guy just kicked my butt. Like, I'm not even close. Okay, I know I've got to go through, grind, work on some things, maybe get little pieces here and there. Okay, I finally got through him, working through. Crap, there's another wall. It's like there's the feeling of progression is so like kindergarten, here you go in this game.
Yeah.
That there's no feeling of, it's rare. And that's why I was like, I want to go through a Nightfall solo, because that's one of the few things that actually still gives me that feeling of accomplishment.
Right.
And that word of accomplishment is one that, like, you have to work for it. Like, you should have to want to work for the highest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there's none of that right now. If you just play around, you do your basic things, you go do public events, which you could literally just shoot an enemy and stand around and not die and get your rewards. The ways you could get the things, as opposed to having to be on your game to do the highest level stuff, it just takes away the feel of a need to, the want to do anything harder. Like, you can do the easy stuff and be done.
Agreed. Completely agreed. That's the way it is currently set up is literally what you just said. You get everything and then you're done. And that's what happened to, shout out to Chris Coben, in the chat. It's like, if there's no incentive because you've got everything. You finished. What else is there to come back to? So again, they've got to figure it out. I don't envy the position that they're in.
No,
it's a tough one. I can only imagine what those meetings are behind closed doors. I can only imagine the pressures they have. Yes, it was based on the initial sales. Destiny 2 was a tremendous success. It's like top 3 in 2017 just on sales for the year. But since then, I don't know if you've been check ILPs. We
saw Trials. Well, I saw a blip that's basically saying Trials is lower than it's ever been for D1, and then still keeps going down.
But here's what's even worse. Besides that, on the Iron Law podcast, we do every month we do the MPDs. You know what I mean? And when it really hit me, I think we had the dude on. We had the dude. I mean, now shout out to him for Short Pause podcast, and he's a hardcore Destiny guy like us.
Yeah.
And his channel is actually founded on that. And he brought it to my attention, and a light bulb went off. He said, "Boy, Cognito, look at that top 10 MPD software list. PlayStation, Xbox, top 10. Destiny 2 wasn't even in the top 10. That is unheard of from a sales perspective. So now they're getting hit in the wallet, because even in D1, during the whole phase of, what was it, Crota? What was that expansion?
Dark Below.
Dark Below. Destiny 2 was like, maybe 5, 6, 7. It was still selling. Don't get it. Like, now it's like the word's out, and people are abandoning it. Like, the play, it's not even selling. Some of the games that were above it, I was just like, wow. And like I said, I'm gonna give you guys I'll give you a sneak peek and preview right now. We're gonna have hopefully we're gonna have one of the MPD guys on the show on ILP, and this is gonna be one of the questions I ask him, because that's troubling. Now Activision has to jump in. Like, they're not making money anymore after those initial 1 or 2 month sales, and when the PC launched, of course. Yeah, but it's interesting, man.
I was like, and you've got stuff like PUBG, you've got Fortnite that's popular. You're going to have more games that come out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just try and make it too casual, you're going to blow through it too quick. You have to, and it's like the incentive to play the game is gone. For so many people, it's gone. And they're just like, I've got too many other options. Why am I going to, if I'm 335, like, you can, and that's the thing is, even if you're 335 and you're like, hey, I want to do my milestones, that's all I have for the weekend. They can be done in a couple hours on Tuesday. That's it.
I agree.
And you're done. And then 6 other days out of the week, you're like, man, what would be like, you got a friend, like, what do you want to play? Oh, well, I only play Destiny like once a week, but I don't play that much anymore. So let's try this other thing. Like, the communication's not there to be like, dude, I'm still playing Trials. Let's do that this week. And you need to pick it up and grind up and get up here with me. It's not there.
I agree. So,
I think we can probably have that horse is officially dead.
Yeah, we're going for hours on that one.
Yeah. So
FLASHPOINT, aka Long Point, once again.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, but I mean, the wrap up is just kind of the way you feel after, like, hey, we got a big February patch. Is this the one? No.
Nope.
I can tell you for most, it's not. A lot of people are hoping for March. Then you've got a break for April for marketing and stuff for the expansion and all that stuff's going to be announced pre-E3, and then May's expansion is whatever's next. But yeah, even for May's expansion, man, I wonder what the numbers are going to be like. There may be a blip for like a week, maybe 2 for people to blow through it.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't change that much, it's not going to last long.
I agree. And the only other counter I was just thinking of off the top is it's got to be a significant light increase as well.
Please make it more than 30.
Yeah, it's got to be, because you got to keep people engaged. You know what I mean?
So 500 for all I care.
Hey, I'm with it.
Actually serious, like that big of a number. Oh crap! Sorry.
That's okay.
That's fine. But yeah, honestly, like make something that big so you actually feel like you've got to work through stuff for a little while.
Absolutely. And if you put that and make power matter.
Oh, please make power matter. Please.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you had that trials, those requirements and trials, Iron Banner in the raid, bro. Now you're getting people like, yo, I gotta do this in order to get in that new raid. I gotta do this. You know, if they, like I say, if they fix the gameplay stuff between now and then, you figure what, April, May, when that DLC will drop. You know, and then you throw that in there with a high light level, that high carrot to chase. Because if it's like, what is it? What are we now? What is it? 335. If it's like
365.
What was the jump before 335? What was max like before 335 on base game?
300.
So they went up 35.
So 305. So yeah. Well, you went up 5. It's 300 to 330, and then you've got mods. So
right. Yeah, it's got to be more than that.
Well, and then my big fear was there was the blip at some point was like, hey, what's the expansion? Is it going to be 350? And we got 330. Right. So if it's literally 20 more for a full expansion, no.
That's like, not enough.
I mean,
we'll blaze through that. We'll blaze through that in about a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah. And it's just to the point of, and I wish we could feel powerful ever. I know they balance things so you don't feel too much like a god, but that's part of the fun of any game with progression. If I go do a normal Nightfall at 270 and the Prestige Nightfall at 330, and I'm 333, for example, or 335 or 332, that normal Nightfall should be a challenge, but it should not kick my butt the way a 330 should.
I agree.
Completely. And that's one thing I wish, because it's apparently my week for it. But if I go back and went to go help my brother in Monster Hunter, and he was on low level, and I've been playing high level stuff for a little while, so I'm buffed. I'm up pretty good. I'm not epic, but I'm solid. And he's starting out. But I go help him with a monster. I smack the crap out of that thing in like 60 seconds, and it's done. But I was like, we never get that feeling. We never get to go back and play stuff and feel powerful. Right. You can still die in patrols, normal low-level patrols. I'm like, I did those at level like 4.
Exactly.
Why am I dying now? Why?
Completely not scaling. You're right. You're supposed to have that feeling of power. And don't get me wrong, not that I'm calling for the raids not to level, but remember in D1, like it felt good sometimes to go back into an old raid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trust me, I don't want them to keep old raids at low light levels. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the feeling that you got when you actually did jump in there and you were like, yeah, I'm more powerful than this. You know what I'm saying? Like
that was one of the few times you actually felt more powerful as if you went back to like 160 vault.
And you're like,
dying faster. It feels like, yeah.
I remember us going in there all sleeper stimulants and just melting AP.
Yeah.
That gun like a boss.
That gun. Yeah.
Oh, miss sleeper. We'll go on for days. FLASHPOINT, aka long point.
Yeah, but it's just like that's I think the only way they fix it is they've got to give you a progression system that makes you actually, that lets you feel powerful, have a progression system that's not too easy, and then have activities in the game that use your content in different ways.
Yeah.
So facts. I mean, just use it all out there. It's like, so however long that takes you to make, I mean, I'm okay waiting, because between now and then, I know like Pyro, he's another one of the YouTube guys that I follow. Like,
shout out to Pyro, I like his stuff.
He's always solid. He's a great guy too. He's waiting on Spider-Man. He's gonna drop everything when that PlayStation Spider-Man comes out. He is playing that. Like, there's just more and more games. So if you want to win them back, you got to do it big and you got to do it right.
Yeah, facts. Amen.
So, well, that's probably enough of us rambling for the week. I know we covered the Flashpoint ramble for
we did that therapy session.
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, sometimes you guys may be like, hey, it's venting, but it's like, they're all things we want, and I think you guys too. So we're just trying to vocalize many of the thoughts that, Doc's got those. He's got them in his article. He gets those out there. This is our venue to get ours out there as well. So And we hope Bungie listens. And honestly, for their sake, I hope Activision can
not get in their way.
Not get in their way and not force them to do something that ruins it. I was like, if I know Activision has shareholders, they've got a lot of money, and it's like in their stock prices and CEOs. You guys, it's like I know you're talking about, oh, I'm losing or winning millions. You're still fine in the grand scheme. It's like so, but if you got to look long term, you can't look current cash cow.
Right.
And if you want long term, you want this to be a franchise. If you burn it now, it's going to be rough.
Absolutely, because right now, what happens with D2 affects D3. I've seen the comments. I've seen people say, "Hey,
they're like, I'm done." Yeah,
I don't know about D3. How dare they even talk about D3 until this is? I've seen that kind of narrative and rhetoric. So this is, like I said, this year all the way up to September, critical for the long, in my opinion, and I'm being brutally honest, for the long-term health of the Destiny franchise. I really think it's that serious.
No, I do too.
They need to have a Diablo 3 moment. Yep. When Diablo 3 dropped that loot patch and changed the way things were played and revitalized, they have to have a Taken King moment. They cannot continue to do what they're doing. Don't get me wrong; these baby steps are cool. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But it has to be a complete revamp. If they stick to their guns and they're like, no, we're gonna keep the weapons not randomized. No, we're gonna keep primary, secondary. Yeah.
Yep. All that stuff. If that doesn't change, you won't win it. You won't get anybody.
You ain't getting them back. You're not. So we're gonna see what happens. This is a very interesting time. But we are the recorders of history at the FLASHPOINT. We will monitor each step of this way.
I would sadly take a bet now with you for with whatever we meet up or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If Taken King 2.0-ish is, I think, forced and pushed out, and those changes aren't there, it may be like, I don't know. I would be happier with the game later. So my bet is if we get Taken King 2.0 in September, I don't think it's going to be what people want.
This is a good one.
I was like, so if it's September, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Okay, so let me quantify your bet though. Okay, what does it need to be in your opinion? Like, how far can the pushback? Spring of 2019?
Like that's, I'd be happy if it was there, because I mean, you're saying no. I'm just saying I think if it, just not saying like when it comes later. I'm saying if it launches in September, if Taken King 2.0 or whatever it is that September date that Destiny seems to hold. If it's then, it will not get reviewed well. It will not last long, and it will not be the game that people want, and therefore it's not going to be.
Let's make the bet. Let's say, all right, you're speaking with intelligence. You're speaking with a lot of facts. Everything is. Let's be fair. Like, let's be real. This bet favors you. This definitely. I'm going to go against it.
But no, I was just going to say, and you don't even have to, because sadly, when you look at the calendar, which I'm looking for the link to it somewhere in here, they have stuff that they're saying right here. It's on the screen. So season 3, and then they mention stuff way back before, stuff that they wanted in fall, and it's just like some stuff is coming sooner, like Rumble may be there, but man, stuff they were thinking about stuff for being there. It's like, if it's not, I don't know. If they manage to get all that stuff in there before, or at least with launch, it's got a shot.
Here's my counter bet to you. I love this. I love it. Let's make this official. All right, I'm with you. However, here's my bet that I say they can save it in September, right? But I have a caveat.
Oh, caveat. Asterisk.
Asterisk. If the weapon, the whole, first of all, the randomized loot, like if randomized loot comes in a certain form, like a mod or whatever, and if that's not there, or if the other thing is not there, the actual, what is it, the primary
weapon slot allocation,
right? So weapon slot allocation, randomized loot, right?
Yep. Without those are the two you gotta have.
Right. Now, if there's no combination of those two, I agree with you.
Yeah.
If they say that they can meet that deadline, I'm gonna stick and stand by them coming in September and saving the game if they can meet those 2 requirements. Because to me, that's the thing. I've heard it from the community. People are like, I can't randomize roles. I get the 5th better devils. What's the point?
Yeah, and that's
Right?
that was addressed even when they announced Destiny 2. And they said they're working on it. Apparently they're still working on it. And then since E3's like launch discussion, we're 9 months later and we don't have a clue what to do with our 5th one. Like if you throw that promise out in the air, I mean Luke Smith made some awesome stuff, but if you're gonna throw it in the air, you gotta follow through.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you lob that ball up, you got to knock it out.
You got to knock it out. So that's my thing. If they can put those 2 in, I think September they can save it. I can see an ill marketing push come E3 because they're going to be on the Sony stage. They're going to have to show something, right?
Yeah.
Come PAX. They have to show something for this upcoming DLC because PAX is April. They have to show something there. But I'm not worried about it. I don't think that's going to be enough. I would agree with that. September is the key.
Yep.
And if they don't, then yeah, I can't.
No, that's. I mean, yeah, we don't have to bet per se because I think we both have the same caveat.
Yeah, we have the both.
But it's just like if there's not major changes to these systems of Destiny 2 for a September release, it won't be enough. Yeah. And people look at it and be like, yeah, it'll be more story. Maybe it's disconnected. We had that whole tangent last week. Maybe it's more story. If maybe PvP feels a little better, maybe some of it's there, but it's like it won't hold, it won't last if those random rolls, all that stuff's not there. So no, I'm with you. Random rolls and just the weapons. Now I heard another like random thing somewhere. What would you think of a 4th weapon slot?
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
So you have a primary, an elemental, a special, kind of like in D1, and then a heavy.
Yeah. I
was like, however they do it, if it's that or you have primary special, like if they like the double, but it's easier to add a second one in there and you move stuff like shotguns and fusions down to slot 4, or however you do that.
I agree.
And then you give grenade launchers a huge freaking buff because they have to compete with rocket launchers, otherwise nobody's going to use them because they're a similar explosive type thing. You have to give them something, and ammo capacity is not it because they're hard as hell to aim.
Yeah,
so I agree. It was like something like a 4th slot to change the way it feels, random rolls, and in-game level 600. Like you make it big and grand like that, I could see it holding its own for longer.
And also strike specific loot. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be doing all that, and you gotta. It's literally I want my grasp of Malak moments, right? Yeah. You want that. Those helmets, what you call its hood and all that, like all those unique stuff. Like you throw it, and then you gotta they've got to do so much. You know what I'm saying? You need your Outbreak Prime style raid, your Sleep and Stimulant style, quest stuff, all the secrets, all the lore, all the stuff that you had to really work hard to get in D1 that made you stand out. The aura's got to be lit. They've got to go so balls to the wall. Like I'm telling you, it's literally that bottom of the 9th, you're down by 2 or whatever it is. You've got to hit that. You got to hit like a 3-run home run, almost a grand slam. You've got to do that to get everyone back. I have confidence in the marketing team though. One thing I will say about Destiny, even with
can hype. They're the masters of hype. Man.
They had me thinking Curse of Osiris was going to be the. Remember we said that's oh my Lord! Like so, I got confidence in the marketing team. I know those dudes and the artists get busy.
Okay, I got a little inkling here.
Let's go.
Now we finally face the darkness. No, I'm serious. If you want to get D1, D2, you got to go big and you got to give them that villain, that new enemy, and you got to go for the thing that has been talked about for 4 years. If you're saving it for Destiny 3, man, pull out the big. You got to pull the big guns now.
Absolutely, you have to go all out.
Like if you go all out, and then if it takes you longer to get D3, I don't care. But like if that you got to, as you're saying, you got to hit for the fences, and you got to get like that, world record Grand Slam 550 footer. Just I don't care. Like just blow it away. Yeah. And that's for me why I don't think they can fit it by September.
Good point. These are valid points.
I was like, that's why I was like, all those things we want. I would rather see it come out like Destiny 2. I don't even know what you call it. Like because it was, you know, Destiny 2 taking king, so Destiny 2 taking queen, however you want. I mean, there's a joke that's out there. Concept art of that. Sabathun's in the strike. But yeah, it's like if it's, you can still market it and do it later. Enough Destiny people will still follow. People will still hype it. Go talk to Game Informer. What's the GameStop magazine? Yeah, it's Game Informer. Have them do a cover. Maybe it's not September, but it's like after people have faded off, do that as like a February cover. What else are you playing right now? I mean, we're playing some random stuff. This, if you don't do it September, you got to do it like February, March.
No, you know what? You're selling me a little bit, Ebon. I ain't gonna lie, because even, let's just say it is great and it is amazing. October is Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Like Red Dead will hold on, and if it's got online, people will play that like Grand Theft Auto for a long time.
November is Call of Duty. Yeah. Regardless of how we feel about COD,
it still sells. It just does.
It's COD.
Yeah.
You may be right.
10 million copies, like however stupid many gillion. People are just like, yeah, I'm playing the new Call of Duty.
They may have to do a pushback. Yeah, you may have to do a pushback to February, March. Bite the bullet. Really go hard. February, March, because that beginning of the year is always, you got time now. You kind of finished all your holiday releases.
I mean, we got like a Monster Hunter now. We've got, you know, you'll get a Monster Hunter, you'll get a Kingdom Come, you'll get things like The Witness, you'll get Bloodborne, you'll get cool stuff, but it's not at that level. And if somebody AAA was like, what's up, February? You're mine. Like, not a lot of that tier is going to come out to compete, I think.
Yeah.
And it gives you spring, summer. Like, I don't know how that does. And I know you got money, but it's just like, wait a couple months. Like, I don't know. I think that would.
I'm just worried. I can't see Activision.
No, and that's my worry is Activision. I mean, and it's not a worry. It's publishers and investors and things like that. And people answer to people. And it's like, and I know that's how that goes. But if you want to go long term, I think you have to go bigger, and it takes longer.
No, you're right. You're right. Now you're winning me over on your argument.
I was like, there's gonna be. It's like you got yours, especially. I was like, it can go both ways, absolutely. But it's just that's my feeling. Is it won't be enough. They can't get enough done then. And I'm not saying Bungie's not talented. It's because we're asking for so much.
We're asking for so much.
Yeah, and it's you're almost rewriting Destiny 2. You have to rework so many systems. And when I talk about those system level changes, little things touch so much. When they talk about the code changes, they're like, that's a code fix as opposed to a different level fix. Like the code fixes touch a lot of systems in the game, and they got to make sure they're square. Like that just takes time. Like
it does, but I mean, according to the development roadmap, by May we gonna. Well, they're not gonna have randomized roles, and they're not gonna have. Yeah, you're right. No. I mean, I'm just looking at the other stuff. But
they haven't even mentioned that stuff though. If they even mention that, like, be like, all right, guys, we know we haven't fixed the loot. We are working on randoms. Like people would be like, oh shit, just like it would just like they'd lose their crap.
They'd lose it.
And that would just be like, hey, you know, that'll keep people a little more in tune to be like, okay, so when it does happen, we're gonna get a new game. And it feels like we almost need not Destiny 3, but almost. It needs to be like taken away from what people have, like again. So
yeah.
All right. Well, how much of our time have we taken up now?
We went way over. Oh my
way God, over.
We went crazy today.
But as you guys know, if you want to talk about Destiny 2, we can ramble for a while. But we will probably wrap up here for now.
Thanks.
The next week is going to be Iron Banner, so you guys can go after those, ornaments if you want. Otherwise, most of us are probably waiting for that March 27th.
March 27th, 1.1.4. Let's go. That's what we're waiting for, baby.
Can I get that in like meme form? You doing that right there, just a little more 1.1.4.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's actually sound like Yogi Bear a little bit right there. 1.1.4.
That's it.
That's awesome.
That's gonna change the game.
So, it's coming, guys, but as you can tell, it's like we know there's a lot of work that needs done. So we'll just have to see what comes. I'm kind of curious to see what little story comes out of or Gods of Mars or whatever that's going to be called.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, enjoy it if you do. If you're not, have fun in other things, and we'll keep you guys in tune to what the Destiny world is doing.
Absolutely, man.
Sorry about our tangents, about a half hour of actual content coverage and a half hour of hope, but gotta have some hope out there.
So from a passionate place, man. Let's wrap this thing up. Man, I'll give my shout out. First, I want to just shout out before we head out. Chris Cobra Elite in the chat, man. He's been riding with us all the way through. all our rants, all our
Thank you for
foolishness.
hanging out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We know this is a passion project, and you know what I'm saying, we just trying to let the community know what needs to be said, and also, you know, what we want, and just also letting people know, because there's still a lot of people that love Destiny, and they're just like, hey, is it okay to come back yet? The answer for right now is no. But like I said, March 27th, a big thing coming up there, big step. We got May, you know, and then we'll see how the year goes on. But me and Bonds, we like the stenographers of Destiny. We're gonna document everything. We're gonna make our comments, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, man, it's Lord Cognito here. I'm do the outros. You can find me on the on Twitter at Lord Cognito, on Xbox Live at Lord Cognito, on PlayStation. I'm actually Cognito 360. And yeah, look out for the Iron Lords podcast this Sunday. That is church. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a big guest. Still working on the details with that. And also, that's going to be on the Inner Circle Network. Still going to be doing flashpoints here on the Iron Lords Podcast Network, as well as Ebontis' channel. Please check his channel out still if you're looking out for Destiny content as well. So, yeah, Ebontis, to get your outro going, brother.
Same as here. Yeah, just sticking with Destiny. Working on Monster Hunter as well. And just as time goes, guys, I still will do Destiny content. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. But I want to have some fun too. And, you know, I'm not saying Destiny 2 isn't fun, but other games are fun too. So I'm going to have a little more variety. You guys have heard me talk about Monster Hunter a lot. If you spend 150 hours in a game, it's a lot of fun. I wanted to spend a long time in the game to get comfortable to talk to you guys about it. So now I'm kind of getting to the point where I feel like I can talk a little more intelligently. It takes some time to get there, but yep. So more content will be coming, guys. Follow me, be the gameplay. I'm going to go try and do a Nightfall solo sometime tonight or this weekend. So I'm going to see if I can knock one out, see how much I want to do. But outside of that, guys, you know where to find me on twitter.com, Ebontis, twitch.tv/Ebontis. And just right here on YouTube, guys, Iron Lords podcast. Check them out Sundays. Always good stuff in there. Good guests, good chat, always good commentary. And then just right here on my channel as well. Just if you guys haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button.
Please, Ebontis channel. Please hit that like. Respect it. Respect, man. You've been doing this for a while. Great content, man. Great content. And some of the most hellacious nightfalls and content in such calm, refreshing voice.
Yeah. I've been told, like, yeah. I've had a couple comments about my thoughts. Just kind of the way I deliver. It's like I'm just calm and collected usually as I am. I was doing my Nightfalls before, and as I'm sitting there going through shooting stuff, I was turning mine into a Destiny 2 commentary. I was like, oh, I gotta pull it back. So but yeah, you'll get a little bit of everything in those, but I'm not the big crazy outspoken yelling people. I'm usually gonna be a little more calm, giving you guys heads up on how to work your way through. So
sounds good, my man.
All right. Well, as always, wherever you guys are at around the world, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening. Have a good one.
Peace. 1.1.4.